Okay, welcome everyone to the third training in our series of trainings from the SMERF Interact project. And to begin, I would like to give a short overview of our project before I hand over to Hannah Dahl, who will handle the rest of this morning and give us a very informative talk and some presentation about using AI in your companies. So for the SMERF project, the SMERF project is an Interact project, and the main idea behind the project, why we set up the project, is that we wanted to support SMEs in their transformation. Why did we do that? SMEs currently are facing very big challenges in transforming their companies to more innovation, to adapting new technologies in the businesses. New technologies arise very rapidly. So that is one thing what we wanted to support them with. The second thing is the concept of circular economy, so reusing parts, reusing materials, recycling stuff. In general, making the manufacturing processes more sustainable is very difficult for small companies, and they need support in that regard as well. The third topic we are tackling is the digitalization of companies. So implementing sensors, implementing different digital tools to boost production or to make it more robust is something that is crucial today, but also making the right choices to use the right technologies in different areas is crucial. So that is something we want to help companies as well. And the fourth point is the cooperation between smaller companies, startups, larger companies, and also business support organizations is something we would like to have a look at as well. So in general, to be successful in future markets, the adaptation of companies is key. The goals that we have within our project is to support companies in 4 different pillars. That is what we call them. The first one is innovation culture. Second one, digital manufacturing. The third one, open innovation and sharing economy. And the fourth is green and circular economy and sustainability. And the other point, besides supporting the SMEs themselves, is to provide new service models for higher education institutions as well as intermediaries, so they are able to support SMEs in the future after the project ends in their transformation as well. So the project consortium is made out of 8 partners. The Wrocław University of Science and Technology from Poland, us in Germany, the KIT, from Italy, the University of Genoa, and the Technical University of Košice in Slovakia. These are more or less the academic partners. Then we have Business Upper Austria from Austria, the Center of Research and Technical Innovation in Italy, the Pan Business Network Association from Hungary, and Stepri Science and Technology Park from Croatia, which more have the direct contact point to the industry. The current actions that we have performed until this stage of the project is still running until March next year. So the first thing we did is set up a website, which is readyforfuture.eu. And on that web page, you can find a inspiration knowledge base, which consists of a list of different services that are available for companies to implement new innovation in their companies. We have some best practices shown there. We also have some success stories from other companies in the participating countries, mostly of how they implemented certain actions in their companies and what maybe could be useful for your company as well. And last year we had some webinars within the project, each about 1.5 hours long, and they are available on the webpage as well for you to have a look at them if you missed them last year. The second big thing that we did in the project is the SMERF diagnosis tool, which is online since beginning of this year. The concept behind this tool is to give SMEs a chance to self-assess themselves in the 4 pillars that I mentioned beforehand. So it will show you your level of advancement in different features of each of these pillars. It will give you recommendations on how to improve in different of these features. And it will also give you a whole transformation scenario for your company on how to proceed in one or all of these pillars. So the main goal is to port your transition to a higher level of advancement in the future. The outcome of that tool will a little bit look like this. So you will have a spider diagram showing your current level of advancement in the different features. In this case, the different features of digital manufacturing as a pillar. And then it will also give you some activities that we as a consortium and as what we have learned from the past and in a conversation with experts are some activities to suggest to you. So you can see we have different training like the one we will have today. We will have mentoring, so somebody who will be at your side and guiding you along, and also an expert consultation, which is more detailed focus on a specific topic. And you will get, for each pillar that you completed the survey in, get a recommendation what to do depending on your level in the specific features and the pillar. The other activity that is currently running is our SMERF Trainings series. We already had 2 trainings in June, and this is the 3rd one in our training series. It will be a total of 8 trainings, so there are 5 more to come. The next one will be on the 16th of September, which will also be focused on a topic of digital manufacturing. And the next one is then in October already, which is more towards a green business approach. And the others are still to be determined, but they will be coming within the project runtime. Also, one of our actions is the InnoGreen Market event, which will take place in Linz in 2 weeks' time. We organized 16 companies. So we supported them so they can visit there. The whole event is about creating a more robust company. So 16 of the companies that we support within SMERF will be traveling there, visiting there. And so if you would like to join, you may contact me. I'm not sure if we still have some space left, but yeah, so you will have to pay for the event now by yourself, but we can support you in registering there and maybe also some more information about the event. The upcoming actions, which will be taking part in the end part of the project, are 2 things. The one is the individual support program, where each partner of the project will choose 3 small to medium companies and support them in really transitioning. So implementing the actions that are suggested by our tool into their companies. So based on the diagnostic tool analysis, we will choose some companies that we can support, and we will give them the opportunity to choose mentorship or consultation with experts to implement some of the changes in their companies. Then the last thing will be a behind the scenes workshop, which has the aim to transfer the best practices that are in use in more innovative regions like Germany and Austria to the, let's say, a little bit less innovative regions from the partners in the project. And it's dedicated to local and regional authorities and business support organizations. So this is more on a level to spreading information on how local authorities and supporting partners and networks can support companies in the future. So if you would like to know anything about the project, feel free to contact me. And with this, I will hand over to Hannah again.
Thank you.
If I am able to, yeah.
Thank you very much. And I will start sharing my screen again. Welcome back to all of you. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much, Dr. Müller, for the introduction. Let's jump in to today's workshop and training. We have this agenda. It is quite a lot, and I'm really happy to share all the insights with you today and do it very interactive. We will start with block 1. We will lay the foundation from data to insights. We will look at AI today, a little bit of the history of AI, a little bit of technical terms, but not too technical, of course. I'm sure you're quite familiar with most of it. Then we will look at the data foundation. What do we need to actually use AI in manufacturing? How it all connects. We will have a look at digital twins and then start with our first interactive session, identifying your quick win. We will start with your first high impact possible solution, and we will focus on it throughout the training. Then in block 2, after a short coffee break, we will take action from insights to a pilot project. We will look at problems, common problems, and look at AI solutions that would map these or solve these problems. We'll have a look at the business case, the return on investment, the ROI, and a roadmap, like a 90 days plan, that could be it. And also we will have a look at some success factors and practical tips for implementing and starting a first pilot project. We will conclude this with a second interactive session where you will draft your one-page pilot plan. How to start with AI. Your takeaways today will hopefully be some clarity on automation AI and Gen AI, understanding of core technologies and needed data. You will have a prioritized problem from your operation and for your business, a concrete pilot plan to get started, and some practical tips for implementation. I hope that's what you're here for, because that's what we will be focusing on. Before we get into the content and before I'll introduce myself, I would like to share some workshop logistics and how we will work together for the next 3 hours or two and a bit. It is interactive. I will do Q&As with you actually, or some surveys with the tool. Some of you already saw the QR code or the URL in the beginning. I also have some slides to back it up. We will be in breakout rooms and use a Miro board. So please participate. Those silent listeners, then whenever it comes to the breakout rooms, we will see when you're not there. It would be really great to interact with everybody. It is your time. It is our time here. So let's make the most of it by interacting. It also means that if you can, I would love to have your cameras on if possible. I know there are reasons why you can't, but of course, whenever we're interacting or whenever you're asking something, please, it would be great to see your face too. I'm quite used to talking to a black screen, but whenever we are engaging, let's be in touch a bit more and see each other. You can always ask questions. Write them in the chat. I try to have a look at it, or raise your hand, unmute yourself. Just please feel free to ask any question whenever it rises up. Maybe I will say this question will be answered later on. Let's see. I will do my best to answer right away. Microphone is on mute. You know that unless you're speaking. That's what you're already doing perfectly. Thank you. Materials and flows. The slides of this workshop, you will get them afterwards. You will get a quick feedback survey and also get this presentation as a PDF. And this is very important because it's going to be much more content than what we discussed during this workshop now. So this training doesn't end here. It's just a start. But the presentation, the PDF that you will receive, will have lots of examples or more self-assessments or different approaches or little success stories that can be really helpful for your everyday life and for the first pilot or whatever you want to start with. So make sure you have a look into the slides. Don't be surprised if you see something like, didn't I pay attention? Nah, most likely it's just an additional slide to explain whatever we talked about. We will have breaks. And we have the live polls and the Miro board as tools. As I said before, you will always get an easy URL. I always shortened it so it's easy for you to type it into your browser. And please, it's a safe space for discussion. No sensitive company IP, of course, intellectual property. You know that. Please feel free to share with, especially in the breakout rooms, and we all make sure that we will not use any knowledge outside of this space. There will also be a recording of this workshop that will be shared afterwards, but it will be like cut and prepared so that the breakout sessions won't be there. And also if there might be questions we think would not fit for the broader public, we would also cut this out. If this is clear, I'll move on. If not, please feel free to interrupt. Who am I? Well, Hannah Dahl, you know my name already. I understand myself as a transformer at the interface of human potential and technological innovation. And I've been doing this, that feels like forever, but no, I looked at my watch and it's like, oh, wow, that's 14 years in consulting, and it's public governance. It has been SMEs a lot and organizations, big member organizations we have in Germany. We have our own little consulting company. I have worked for digital transformation forever. I love it. It's my topic. And also transformed more than 42 companies, could actually be more in all that time. Lots of strategic transformation, some operational help, of course, too. I love to talk. I love to talk here. I love to talk on stages. I'm a keynote speaker, especially for AI. And also, I love to not only speak on stages, but to train consultants too. I train consultants not only how to use AI, but how to be a good consultant. I love consulting, and I believe that it has still big value, even though there is AI and maybe even more, and that we have to provide a big, great quality to. I also do AI avatars with the little company I have, and I am a motorcycle rider and enduro rider for more than 22 years. It's part of my life, that's why I mention it. And maybe someone lives in Brandenburg and wants to come and ride with me. I don't know, always trying. All right, doing lots of other stuff too. Enough about me. Now that you know me, I'd like to get to know you. This yellow slide you will see throughout the presentation, and you will always know, okay, it's my turn now, and now we'll see who's listening, because please, let's start with the first survey. It's the same survey, and Paul, you saw on the very first title slide when you joined early on. I can hear someone. Maria, I can hear you. Do you have a problem with? Okay. Yeah. You could give me a thumbs up if this survey is working for you. And I will start looking at the results and will, of course, also share them with you. No. Yeah, Maria, is it you? You're unmuting and muting. Is it working for you?
Yes, I think it works.
Great. So there are 3 participants already. I will share whenever I see that we have some more people. right? I will share the results. It'll be some screen switching all the time because I switched to the browser, then I will switch to the Miro board. We'll get used to it. So people are answering already. The first question was, where are you joining from today? People are still typing. A university, Germany, Linz, Poland, Austria. That's nice. I've been wanting to go to Austria to ride a motorcycle. Consultant and other, that's a lot of other or consultant. It would be great if you could write in the Teams chat what it is, what other is, or if it's a consultant. If we have so many consultants, we're like, it's a whole bunch of us here, right? Gonna be interesting. So I would really like to know, maybe you're a project partner, that could be an option. Please feel free to write it in the chat. I jumped through. Oh, there's a lot of other. I didn't expect that. Also other. Okay. I'll jump to the first one. Sorry, to the first one to see. Okay, Germany and Poland is here. Oh, can someone help me with this word? What is that? Where are you joining from? That is Breslau. Okay. Then consultant and other. I would really like to know where what you're doing. What are your 3 biggest production challenges? 3 people joined so far. We won't make it too long if you don't have an option to answer this or to get along in this poll. We won't wait too long. Which production challenge do you want to solve with AI? We have forecasting, predictive maintenance, robustness of process chain, robustness of workflow, lack of skills. That's very interesting. The knowledge gap and consistency in quality and in knowledge, maybe, I'm not sure. When you hear AI in manufacturing, what 3 words come to mind? Data, problems. Oh, now we have words coming in here. It's all flying in. Maintenance, robots, optimization, data interpretation, analysis, data, problem solving, scheduling, monitoring, data, problem solving, maintenance. Industry 4.0, yes. Okay, automation. That's great insights. And then I have one last question and some last questions. The maturity level of your company, that is very interesting to me. Of course, to know where we are today. Are you already? Do you have projects that you're just optimizing? Are you just saying, hey, I'm exploring, I'm learning, I'm looking what's out there, maybe starting with a pilot project? That could be the second point to see a bit where you are at. And then we have some answers, 7 answers. How familiar are you with AI technologies and tools used in manufacturing? I know and use AI tools like IoT, predictive maintenance, and digital twins regularly, so this workshop might be a bit too boring for you. I'm aware of these tools and concepts, but have limited or no practical experience. I have heard of AI in manufacturing, but don't know much about specific tools, and I'm new to AI and don't know what these tools are. All right, that is a great foundation. I like it. Then we have some areas your organization is already using AI. It's quality control, predictive maintenance, process optimization, energy management, product development, and also others again. This is not surprising. Are you already using Gen AI? Yes, in multiple departments. Yes, only in specific teams or pilot projects. It's great. What do you hope to gain from the workshop today? Insights to where to implement AI tools, to learn about AI tools possibilities, new knowledge case studies, practical information, insights. how to use AI, how's it used efficiently and safely, easy to start examples, knowledge on AI. The case studies and also some examples will be in the presentation later on in the PDF. I have more real world examples in there and success stories you can definitely see. Okay. Thank you so much. Some are still typing. I will jump back to the presentation and I will have a look in the chat. I want to see the chat to see if some of you wrote others. I'm a project partner working in a BSO. Okay, one of the others. Oh, sorry, camera turned off. Who else is one of the others? I have this AI camera, which is not smart some of the time. Okay. Feel free to keep writing what else, where else you come from. All right, we already checked the answers. Let's start with the content. Let's look at the foundation from data to insights. What's important today is you do not, of course, need to understand how AI works. We will look into it, but just like briefly and not very technical. I threw all of that out. But what we, of course, need to understand, which problem does AI solve best? What solution type fits your situation? Who can help you implement it? When to start? You should really start with a small pilot soon. And why the ROI makes it worthwhile for your whole organization. Because in the end, we're businesses, right? I saw lots of consultants and others. It is supposed to be also for businesses, or you transfer this knowledge to a business. So I speak to you as the business owners, SME owners or project leads and so on, members of this organization. And this is why a business perspective, that's what we need, right? We're not playing here. It's about business, it's about money, it's about people's jobs and lives. So, and then the question is why AI and why now, of course. We're all here because we have this massive hype around Gen AI, right? I'm sorry, my camera keeps turning off. I will switch the camera now because it is disturbing, I guess. I will use the not AI version, which is also fine because it's a MacBook. Okay. We're here because Gen AI is a big hype, right? We will, and I will show you how to also use it. I'm so sorry, my camera seems to have a big problem. To also show you how to use it, how to use Gen AI. But Gen AI has just been the, like, let's say the trigger, right? The rise of Gen AI has put AI on every CEO's agenda. It is the catalyst for this conversation today. But real value in manufacturing comes from connecting AI to physical operations and real-time data. And it has already been there for quite a long time. But we are still talking about it now, and not 5 years ago, and not in 5 years, but now. We will look at a quick timeline to see where we are in the evolution of AI. But our goal today is to use this momentum, why we're all talking about AI, right? This huge bubble, maybe, but this huge momentum, and to build a sustainable strategy. Let's bridge the hype of Gen AI with proven value of analytical AI on the shop floor. How did we get here? This is a very quick history, a very short history of AI, just to show you it's been there so long, especially in manufacturing, especially analytical and predictive AI, which are like the main factors still that are important for manufacturing. We had the Turing test, of course, in the 1950s, 1955, the first time someone said artificial intelligence as a term, which I will give a quick definition later. And then we had some milestones. And of course, a big milestone was in 2017 when not ChatGPT or not OpenAI, but Google actually invented the transformer architecture, which is the basis for ChatGPT and most LLMs nowadays. GenAI came with ChatGPT to the public end of 2022, and a lot has happened ever since. I believe like the how to calculate time has changed. If I now say, oh, in the past, I mean like 6 months ago, right? And if I say, oh, that's a bit long ago in Gen AI time, that's like 2 years ago. So much has happened since. And it's still coming, and it's still moving really fast. Let's see what else will come. Where we are in 2025, what's important is we have reasoning models. We have very powerful large language models that we will make use of also in manufacturing. Just here and there, and I will show you where, but it is still valuable. So where does AI create value? It typically in manufacturing falls into one of these 5 areas. We have predictive maintenance, we predict machine failures, we optimize production schedule, we have quality inspection, usually with computer vision and with cameras. We have energy optimization, and as Dr. Müller said at the beginning, that sustainability is also a big topic, right? It is here too, and this is what we can use AI for. Throughput, production planning, inventory optimization, of course, also fields where we can use AI. What are metrics you can usually improve? The KPIs, the key performance indicators, OEE, overall equipment effectiveness, MTBF, the mean time between failures, the MTTR, mean time to repair, scrap rate, like how much waste there is. We have energy and so on and so on. So lots of things where AI can actually have lots of value in manufacturing. But where are we right now? What I didn't mention when I introduced myself, one of my big assignments was when I actually supported Industry 4.0 when we made digital twins, we made of whole ports and of factories for employee safety, especially. That was a very interesting case. So I have worked with big and small, also SMEs and public organizations to use to actually implement AI in manufacturing. But where are we right now? What do we hear? What is the reality check? What did we hear, right? For a long time, Industry 4.0 will revolutionize everything. And now we have AI, it solves all the problems. It is not even an expectation, it's a hope. Like it's like up in the air. You need massive investments, they say, and it's all about the technology. I believe, well, 70% of digital transformations fail anyway. Why? We will look at some success factors later on. Let's see what you can spot and think about. You need massive investments. Now, that's always wrong, right? We will start with small pilots to have big wins. Most SMEs, they just don't know where to start. That's also why we're here. And it is always about solving real problems and real business problems, right? It's not for fun. We're not here for fun. We're here to change the world, our productive world. I want to run quickly to look at what AI is, what we mean by AI today, what it is, what it's not, what it could be at some point. What is artificial intelligence? It is. And why do I make it this basic? Because have a common understanding of what it really is quite helpful for everything we will talk about in the future. And wherever you meet AI now, I believe it can be helpful too. And at some point, AI will only be software, by the way. What we called AI like in the 70s or 80s is now just software, and it'll turn out like that. But what does AI do? It mimics human intelligence. That's where it comes from, right? They do tasks that typically require human thought. And what makes it this intelligent is it can learn and adapt. It recognizes patterns and learns from the data and it improves over time. The rest would just be classic, like rule-based information, but it can recognize those patterns and improve. It helps in problem solving. It can process information, make decisions, predictions, recommendations. And there are broad applications, of course, from automation to complex analysis and creativity. Let me also tell you where we are now, because you might hear it is that everybody's waiting for this AGI, this superhuman, super intelligent something. At the moment, we are still in the weak AI. They used to call it weak AI. We would now call it specialized AI. It's usually masterful in one discipline. It can often perform a specific task better and faster than a human, but nothing beyond that. I would usually say anything ChatGPT can do, my mom can do too. I stopped saying that like a year ago because it's really huge what ChatGPT can do. But in the end, I say it because she would just take much longer, like 3 lifetimes, right? Or longer, or need a broad network. But it is bigger than that. The LLMs are so powerful, even with so much time, you would not see those patterns, for example. So, but still, it is ChatGPT. It is just about text, just about language. Anything it does, even images, it's always about just tokens, snippets of a word or a word. It can, your navigation system, that's AI. Your Alexa or Siri or whatever you have in your phone, or your Spotify recommendation, that's all the AI we have right now. There's more coming. Let's hope. I don't know. I don't want to experience this, to be honest. I'm very critical about it. It is one thing is general AI or strong, KI AI. It can learn flexibly like a human, combine and solve problems in different areas. It is not existent yet. It is a matter of time. Some time ago, they said it's 2080, now 2030, now who knows, maybe next week, we don't know. As I said, like time is just relative, or even more relative since ChatGPT came along. And superintelligence, I don't want to be here when that happens. It surpasses humans in all intellectual areas. Maybe it's like, if we compare ourselves to a dog, maybe the super intelligence we would for the super intelligent would just be like a dog or a cat and treat us like that. It is a theoretical concept, so we cannot think about what would really happen. And you know it. AI is more than just ChatGPT. We have it in manufacturing, what we will talk about today, but we have it in recruitment. We have it in healthcare, is a big topic, has been there for quite some years already, growing. We have automated decision systems in the financial sector, which we should look at in a critical way too, by the way. We have robotics and computer vision, also not only manufacturing or for quality inspection, but also in surveillance. What I would like to share with you, and I'm glad you're here today, because even though we think, oh wow, AI will revolutionize everything, and then nothing happens, and we think, oh, maybe it's just a bubble and it will just go like boop, and then AI is gone. No, Roy Amara, who's like a futuristic scientist also, he said, it's the Amara's law. We tend to overestimate the effect of a technology in the short run and underestimate the effect in the long run. And this is what I believe where we are now too. We have big hopes. Companies that I support realize it's not plug and play, and it's not plug and play. Data is garbage in, garbage out, right? The data is not good. It takes more time. It is harder for people to use and so on, but still, it is huge. And that's why we're here today, to see that you're part of this journey, this revolution from the beginning on, and that we do not underestimate the effect in the long run. I believe all of you saw this at some point. It's my quote. No, it's not my quote. Your job will not be replaced by AI, but by someone who uses AI. We're not talking about robots taking over, of course not. We are talking about you about people who can leverage AI to solve your toughest production challenges. If it's reducing unplanned downtime, improving quality, and so on. Let's see. And that's why I'd say maybe you should start transforming your production with AI, or you will be outpaced. Now, maybe you have some remarks or different views or opinions. You can also share them. I cannot see the chat so easily, so feel free to share it here in the public. And also, I have more questions coming up. We have some question parts. In the beginning, there are more. They will not so many in the end. So please feel free to fill in more questions. And I will also jump into that browser in a second. I prepared a link here to make the switching very easy and as fast as we can do it in this digital. I am switching the window. Okay, now you can see my browser. What are the 3 primary drivers for your company's interest in AI? Improve product quality and reduce waste. Gain a competitive advantage. Overcome labor shortages. Oh, what do we have here? Other. We have lots of other. I should have so much other. I would love for someone who clicked other. That's interesting. To let me know, to maybe speak out loud and share with me what other is or why it's other. Maybe because you're a project partner and it, just not important for you. If no one talks, I'll pick someone. Who would like to share? What's with Sandra? Or Maria? Did you write others? Oh, Andrea is writing. Oh, I like it. Okay, while Andrea is typing, I'll check the slide again if something changed. No. Next year, just exploring. I'm project partner and from years as well. Okay, I see. Thank you, Andrea, for letting me know, giving me some insights. Where I'm like, whoa, for the target group, it could have been quite a good question. For project partners, maybe not so much. Let's jump then now back into the topic and see what can AI do in the field of manufacturing, right? You wrote that some of you know it. They use predictive analytics. They even have digital twins. Maybe they know what IoT is. Others do not know so much. So I try to find a good level or balance of basics, but maybe also something new. What can I do? What is AI? We had this, but now you saw it in the history and the timeline. We have classical or analytical AI. This is when algorithms recognize patterns in data. They can make predictions, what we said before, right? Predictive analytics, or suggest optimizations. And this has been there for quite a long time. But it's easier. It became much easier. We'll look into this. Some of you said when you think about AI in manufacturing, you said automation. Automation is usually rule-based. And it says, if temperature is higher than 80 degrees Celsius, stop machine. The analytics then, it recognizes the pattern and says, oh, I see that every time that the temperature rises 15%, then the machine actually fails. Now we have AI and machine learning. We have learning and predicting. They know, okay, I can see that's happening. It is very likely that in 72 hours, based on the patterns, the machine will fail. This is where we are right now. And that is one example of the prediction. What is traditional automation and AI based? I really like this comparison because it happens wherever. If it's in manufacturing, if it's in companies, it's always the same. And I always like to clear it up. Because we have automation. When I started one of my first jobs, I actually automated, well, I tried very hard, the public governance in a specific field. Like we used a process engine and automated everything. There was like no AI. We wrote those XMLs, like what you wouldn't do now anymore. And there was automation. It has fixed rules. If this happens, then yes and no. You know it, right? You know, process with chart, flow, diagram. But the decision making in an AI-based system could learn from the data and make a new decision. Traditional automation cannot adapt. Obviously, well, you can adapt it, you can change it. Again, like before, you had to even write in the XMLs and change the flows. AI-based system, it is much more flexible. Also nowadays, other automation tools that are not AI, you can also change them easily. We even talk about make.com and N8N. Maybe you know those tools. It is still not AI. Most of it is rule-based automation, where you can add AI to decide. We'll look into this in a bit. How complex is it? Traditional automation, if this, then that. AI-based system, they can actually check complex patterns. Example, we had it here, temperature of a machine, or we know, okay, it might fail soon. I can see special patterns, it might fail. Setup effort, low, AI-based, medium, or high. The value over time in traditional automation is usually very constant, and AI-based system, it's increasing because also it learns. It learns. Once you implemented it, you could like scale it easily, and then you know the value increases for one machine by 2 and so on, and that multiplies. So that's quite big. What do we have? This is like a very short technical part. In the PDF, you can find more terms, but what do we have? We have machine learning. What are methods? We have computer vision. So we actually process images of videos, usually for quality inspection. Lots of use cases for this, and lots of companies actually implementing it. BMW has it. Then we have time series analysis. We have forecast trends and seasonal patterns. This is of course useful for your stock management and the demand forecasting. We can optimize. We have optimization algorithms, find best solutions among millions of possibilities. This is one AI method. Anomaly detection. What does it do? It identifies outliers and unusual patterns and then would say, oh my God, a failure will happen, right? Sorry. Classification. To categorize items, defects, or conditions. That's another AI method. And one last, regression. Predicts continuous values, temperature, pressure, demand. That's it for this. We will look at use cases for analytical AI, predictive analysis. A use case for predictive analysis is, of course, I believe this is the case, predict machine failure before they happens. As we said before, they analyze specific values like vibration or temperature, pressure patterns, or even process flows and say, oh my God, the machine will fail. And what can we also do with predictive analytics, the forecast of demand? For example, you have historical sales, your data, you can have real-time data from the market trends, and then forecast the demand that would come. Quality and anomaly detection. real-time defect identification. That's the biggest use case. Computer vision, like they can inspect products at line speed. This is in lots of companies already, and it's quite easy to teach or to learn. You can even use Google Teachable Machine, and you will find it in the resources. There are free data sets that you can train it with. This is a place where you can actually start. Choose free data sets. I provide links to those, and teach your own AI. For example, these are like broken screws or something. These are good ones. And then this is how you can teach the AI. And whenever your product has a defect, it can recognize it. Process deviation alerts. This is also the anomaly detection, when it can see when we have a variation and then say, oh, something's going wrong here, and give an alert. Process optimization. Many of you wrote or ticked that you already have this in place. And sustainability, that was a point, right? So energy consumption optimization is a big topic. We can balance production schedules with energy costs, for example. And then we have production line balancing. We can optimize workflows to minimize bottlenecks too. Resource planning allocation, not only the demand, but the inventory optimization, like the optimal stock level, the reorder points. This is something we can do with AI. And workforce scheduling. Match your skills to the production needs. This is something maybe people don't see that often. Yes. Oh, and I wanted to share one example for the computer vision. As I said before, the one project I did too, or I supported, was a digital twin of a company to predict accidents. So it was about employee safety, which it was not only computer vision, of course, there was more to it. And that was quite an interesting real life use case too. What happens now? We have a new player on them here. We have generative AI. So pre-2022, AI was complex and expensive and only for experts, and manufacturing AI were very specialized solutions. Now, as I said, in November 2022, ChatGPT launched, and everybody can talk to AI. AI will change everything, right? The reality for manufacturing, though, is Gen AI is not really what you need, not for the shop floor. But one thing it is, why we talk today, is it makes people excited about AI, and you can use the momentum to implement practical AI, but also it helps you a lot with with understanding your analytical AI. And I will point this out in different areas when it comes to specific use cases. What's classical AI or analytical AI, and where Gen AI comes in. I found this quote, and I really like it. Bill Gates said in March 2023, that's when ChatGPT 4 launched. In my lifetime, I've seen two demonstrations of tech that struck me as revolutionary: the GUI and ChatGPT, the general user interface, and ChatGPT. And he was a man who saw a lot, right? So this is why we will today also talk about this a bit and how to use it. I will quickly say what is Gen AI to compare to what is analytical and classical AI. Those algorithms, excuse me. Those algorithms, they recognize patterns in data, make predictions, or suggest optimizations. No. The AI generates new content. The other one was the classical AI, I'm sorry. The AI generates, generative AI, new content. For example, text, images, or code based on training data. What training data, and why is it here now? Well, because we have lots of data, right, in the internet, and that's where we have how those models were trained. That's what inside ChatGPT, let's say, and that is big. Like that's the amount of data that's huge. We cannot imagine it. That's how big it is. What are examples for use cases? We can plan projects. I would plan your AI implementation project with AI, of course, with Gen AI. And I will keep saying with ChatGPT, because it's what we all say, right? I don't use ChatGPT usually. And AI experts, well, those, or AI consultants, let's say, partly use ChatGPT. We use more specific models usually, but I might keep saying ChatGPT, and I mean LLMs with it. What other examples do we have? Automatic documentation of machine malfunctions. So anything that's text related, we can use Gen AI for. We can also, that is a very interesting case, we can generate synthetic test data for AI models, because you might not have enough models, but you want to train a new AI model, and that's where it can help. And of course, LLMs help with the creation of code snippets. To make it a bit more specific, how Gen AI can be used in manufacturing, it's natural language interface. You can ask complex questions now in plain English or in plain language. Summarize night shift quality issues in top 3 causes, for example. You don't need to interpret. You can just talk, actually really talk, like just speaking to an LLM. You have automated reporting. You can have programming and scripting assistance, code snippets. You don't really need to do it, but actually anyone could write a Python script for an AI tool nowadays, or to have an AI tool. I do it all the time. I have no idea what I'm doing, but it somehow works. We have, as I said, synthetic data generation, and one thing is generative design. That has Rolls-Royce has used it, and I believe Airbus too, that you can generate thousands of design variants based on parameters, material weight, cost, and so on. What for? You can speed up production development, you can make lighter, stronger, and more cost-effective products, and you can, of course, also support sustainability through efficient material use. And Rolls-Royce, I think they created much lighter machines, and I think it was for planes. I was like, what are they doing with planes? And it's actually, you can actually find it. You can research it and find this case too. So like 40 or something % of less weight for those machines. What are the differences? Classical AI and Gen AI. On the left side is classical AI. What you need for IoT, Internet of Things, we will look at it, and predictive maintenance. You analyze, you predict, you classify. Generative AI is you create, you generate, and transform what you have. What does it need as input? Classic AI usually, well, not usually, it needs structured data. Sensor reading, temperature, pressure, and so on. Gen AI can work with unstructured data. Just maintenance logs, manuals, questions in plain English, images, even like sticky notes, it can handle it. What do you get? Classical AI, prediction alerts, decisions. Generative AI, of course, new content. Where can I use it for? Predictive maintenance and quality control, or Gen AI maintenance copilot. Like I can actually have my copilot I can talk to. Interactive reporting could also be something. What is it trained with? Classical AI, your specific data. Generative AI, internet scale data. Yes, you can also train Gen AI with your data or use large language models on your data too and train it. But that's the whole thing, and that's important to understand. This is how it's trained on patterns of language that you can find in worldwide data. What I would like to give you as a last idea on how to view it, think about it. The one thing, the classical AI is the engine. It has the core analysis, and generative AI can be your cockpit. Like classic AI says, oh my God, I saw an anomaly, the pump is abnormal, it is maybe defective, and then generative AI can turn the error code into something that everybody can understand. So it makes it easier to onboard new people, and you don't need experts all the time. You could then say, oh my God, how can I solve it? And it could check all the manuals and actually tell you how to solve this problem. And you can also, as it's in here, simulate the impact of increasing the speed and so on. In plain English, you can actually make simulations. A short lookout into the next evolution, agentic AI. What is agentic AI? I mentioned it before a little bit, and when we talk about automation, it is usually, or when we talk about automation and AI in organizations, we very often also mean agentic AI, which means AI systems can autonomously make decisions, learn from outcomes, and pursue goals with minimal human intervention, operating within defined boundaries, you said. I wanted to say for now, let's see when superintelligence comes. And the key difference is the traditional automation, if defect is detected, it would send an alert. AI enhanced means if a defect is detected, it would categorize how terrible is it, and then tell the right team, okay, there's a defect, you're the team, please go and check it. And agentic AI can see, oh my God, this is broken. What does it mean? Evaluate the context and then actually say, okay, it is not very severe. I would go on with production. Execute it and learn from the result and say, oh my God, I should have stopped. And here you could make a human intervention also necessary, or that it's not an option, that a machine could not really execute, but maybe make a suggestion. Then the question is, how agentic is it if it doesn't actually execute the decision, but that is in general agentic AI. Oops, sorry. Our AI focus, practical and proven. Let's look at classical AI, but generative AI as the icing on the cake. And let's have a clarity on the hype. Like, let's not run around and say, oh my God, everybody uses Gen AI, let's use Gen AI. It's about the value you actually create here. The return on investment comes from classical AI, but the usability and the hype now that we take the chance comes from Gen AI. I would like to jump into these questions. You know how it works. You would type it in. And I will also start looking into it. I hope you're still with me. I will now check if people are still participating. Yeah, some people are coming. Okay. There are answers coming in, so I am switching the screen for a second. And I'm glad to see we have more people here who joined, who do not know what else is coming up. That it's interactive, that we have some breakout sessions coming soon. What is one task in your daily work that a Gen AI co-pilot could help you with? Plan tasks, write reports, summarize articles, yes. Provide test schedules, suggest machine parameters, yes. All very, very good answers. How ready do you feel your organization is to adapt generative AI tools like ChatGPT? That is a good scoring. We don't have anyone yet here who says not ready at all. Then we have the biggest hope and concern. I'm switching back. Writing reports, of course, having them written, right? Support and research is a big topic. I believe you know Perplexity as a great tool for it, but also other tools have very good research options and deep research options. Refining reports, that's also very important, to not just have a report written, but to have your report and then refine it. That's great. This, of course, shifted throughout time, right? That organizations are ready or already using it. Biggest hope, regulations or concern, yeah, the regulations are concerned. Controlling financial calculations, hope. Simplified preparation, concern. Faulty inputs leading to problems, yes. Also training data and hallucination. Concern, loss of internal data. If you use the right platform, that is not that is not a problem. Like, that is GDPR conform, and you can also host it locally and so on. I will jump back to the presentation, and here we are. Thank you for sharing your insights. Let's quickly jump into the data. Because what does AI need? Data. It is the foundation of AI. Garbage in, garbage out. If we use classic LLMs, of course, we have, depending on the settings, but we would usually have all the information that's in there, all the data. It has hallucinations and so on. We will look at what you need for manufacturing data and where it lives today. Because without data, AI is just an opinion. And the good news is you already have tons of it. Excel sheets with like quality issues, that's data. Maintenance logs, that's data. Even sticky notes someone leaves is data. And most companies nowadays underestimate what they already have. You don't need to install 100 new sensors to start with AI. Just use your low-hanging fruits, right? Digital records, manual logs. You can add IoT sensors where it makes sense. What kind of data do we have? Manual and digital records. Those are quick wins. They are usually everywhere. We just may need to gather them and sort them and make them available. We have nowadays, most systems have, of course, data. Even your enterprise resource planning tool, ERP, orders, inventory, schedules. We have production tracking, you have quality systems. It could even be feedback from customers too. And then we have IoT sensors, real time, which is machine sensors. IoT stands for Internet of Things. We'll get to this. Like machine sensors, vibration, temperature, and so on. You have process monitors. How fast is something going? And also the environment around it. We also have those sensors that we can measure in real time. If not, we'll look at also a little bit in how to start with it. You have more data than you think. Start with what exists. This is the 5 data categories, the sensor data. What does it actually look at? And I said vibration, temperature, and so on. Of course, for the vibration patterns, it can say, oh my God, it's going to fail, or it is too warm in temperature. You have mechanical issues, acoustic signals, for example, the process data, quality data, event data, and context data. There's a bit of a redundancy. It just adds on to the first types of data that you have. I will jump over your data readiness. I'll walk through it really fast because also the target group here, maybe you can just have the target group doesn't fit so much. but it is very important. And for those who need it, please feel free to check it out and say, hey, where am I right now? How mature am I? What is my data readiness? Level 1, data islands. I have systems, they don't talk to each other. I have manual Excel exports. Or do I have some connections already? Some machines talk, I get some output. I have some kind of a data warehouse, I guess. Dashboards also exist, but they are not used. This could be level 2. Or level 3, you're already very data-driven. You have a central data platform, real-time dashboards, and also data guides. The data guides your decisions within your organization. And don't worry, 7% of manufacturers are at level 1 or 2, to be honest. It is always quite striking when we start new projects to see this, but even level 1 companies can start AI pilots with existing data. And then let's look at how it all connects. You heard some terms that we said, that I said before, like IoT, and we had looked at the applications. And what is IoT? It is Internet of Things. It is your production's nervous system, the bridge between physical and digital worlds. So it is the whole Internet of Things. It's a lot. It could be here on my, well, actually I have some stuff at my home. It is where things, sensors talk to each other. It's a whole network of sensors collecting real-time data from your physical assets. So in this case, in this ChatGPT created image, you can see those sensors, the data that I mentioned before, right? Vibration sensors, pressure sensor, and so on. And Internet of Things, it is not AI. It is just the data that feeds AI. But why do we need it? How is it all connected? We have IoT, the data infrastructure, the foundation. If we look at the machines and the sensors, right, we talked about that we also have other data like maintenance logs, quality reports, and so on. For the shop floor and the big, really, like when it's about production itself and quality and so on, IoT and having sensors are usually the way to go and very important. Then we have AI, the brain, that processes this data. Gen AI helps in explaining what it does. And then, of course, we have the applications, like what can we do with this? Predictive maintenance, digital twins, quality control, and so on and so on. We talked about it before. What happens, what is one of the trends nowadays? It is edge AI. This is pretty much IoT, sensors, and AI together. Or IoT is not only sensors, it's the network of sensors. It is the processing data where it's created, like right on the factory floor, instead of sending everything to the cloud. So a machine actually on the edge of it has the sensor integrated and can process it right there on the machine. It's not like a different system with like sensors and then sending it to the cloud and sending it to you with your dashboard, but it's like, it's a whole computing framework that brings the data processing and storage closer where it's generated at the edge of the network near the devices and sensors. So, and it usually processes the data locally or near the device itself. One last thing, the digital twin. I talked about it a little bit. What is a digital twin? The digital twin, now it is, you can see it in the picture here, and I've seen it in real life with like whole ports and logistics. It is the real-time digital replica of a physical asset, a process or system. So all these data, these data points, let's say it's sensors, but also more information like the process flows and so on and so on. You can actually have a copy of it. It is the same machine, but just a digital version of it. And it is such a great use case and application, because what is it for? It combines all your data and AI capabilities in one place. And then you can visualize it. You can see inside the machines and production flow without being on the shop floor, because you can see the real-time data. You understand it. you can analyze it. You can, and this is great too, you can make simulations. What if I increase speed? What if temperature rises? What else did we have before? Speed, temperature. Yeah, you can make lots of simulation with it. You can find better operating parameters through virtual experimentation. Also, this is where the AI comes in, right? You wouldn't need it. You can ask those questions and say what is best, what are better values, categories, and so on. And you can, of course, predict. The twin would say, oh, look, like, or the sensor recognizes something and then send it to the twin, and then the Gen AI could tell you, look, something's happening, it'll break down, or maybe you should increase speed now because XYZ. Also, digital twins are great to train operators on the virtual equipment without production risk, right? If they switched something, nothing's going to break. You will have a maturity level where you can check, where you can see what the digital twins, like with the rise of AI, what it can do. Just have a basic dashboard, or have a very have some idea and some analytics and predictions, or come together with Gen AI, like a very mature digital twin. The complete picture: vibration sensor detects anomaly. The twin shows, look, this is where it is, right? You would see it on your dashboard. The AI says, oh, that's why the machine will fail in 5 days. Schedule maintenance for the weekends. Oops, is what the Gen AI can do. The suggestion of the AI, and then translated, they could say, hey, I would suggest, well, that's not what it says, but hey, I would suggest you go and make do maintenance this weekend because it would break down. This is clear so far. We will look into the AI opportunity metrics and then get into the first interactive session. Do you have questions so far? Okay. How to choose the right project? Let's look at this matrix. I call it the AI opportunity matrix. You might have seen different versions but let's use this one. It is most applicable for most AI use cases, because we want to decide where shall I start and what is my quick win. Make it easy, make it actually feasible. So what do we have here? We have the technical feasibility, which is on the left side hard. Like, I don't have any data, the integration would be very complex. Or it's easy, I have the data, it is a very clear solution, I know that there are vendors, I know who sells this, who can run it, for example. And then we have the business impact. On the top, you can see high. How high? And I told you before, it's business here, right? It is survival of your production company. We need to do something because it is critical for the survival of our business, the safety. High business impact usually means lots of money, right? More than maybe 500K per year. That depends really, it's so hard to say that, right? It depends so much on the company, or is it 20% of the net, or of this and this value, and so on. So I cannot put a number, but because it's relatively, but if it's a critical number, or the business impact could also be not only in numbers, but maybe in strategic ideas too, then it is something, if it's high, you should look at, and low, nice to have. And then we will now think about and that we will do in the interactive session, about the production challenges and problems we have, and actually map them here. We have unplanned downtime. Okay, it cost me every month 50K. I have the data. I know that I bought a machine that maybe has sensors already and it's somewhere. I just need to connect it, or to actually just get access to it. Or I have I could have what is something with low impact, and nice to have. My coffee machine breaks down. It's also a machine, but you know, that's of course it's just nice to have. Clean it more often. That wouldn't be an AI case, but you know, you could go through your production challenges and then evaluate those two things and map it. But then you have production challenges. Don't think about it in AI yet. Just think about the challenges, and then where and why does AI come into it? We want to see, is it a good AI project? Will it succeed? And you can check it by asking you, is it a repeating problem, not just a one-time event? Do I have measurable impact, euros, money, time, quality? Do I have data, or is it easily collectible? Do I have clear success criteria, other KPIs, of course, like OEE and so on, production time? Does the management support this project? And also the team. Is the team willing to join? And remember that a great idea with 3 of 6 points, a great idea will fail, but a good idea that has 6 of 6 points will succeed. So you could say, yes, is it a repeating problem? Does it have a measurable impact? And so on. And if you check those, you know, okay, that gives you a good idea if this is a good AI project. There's on the Miro board, there's also a second checklist to see if this is actually an AI problem, and you will discuss it in the group. One thing to show you, what do you have as strategic options based on your starting points? If you don't have data, well, see and get data. If you have some data, you can see if you can start with predictive maintenance and quality predictions. If you have rich data, oh my God, go for it. Go for digital twins, process optimization, and so on. If the problem is complex, but you don't have data, I wouldn't try to run before you walked. Choose another project to start with. And also remember that AI is not always the answer. This is why you should use this, the reality checklist, AI reality checklist in the Miro board. And this is where we will jump in now, and I will share my screen if you don't have questions. Okay. Let's see how this goes. Some joined a bit later, and we have many project partners here. It would be really, really great if we have people who are operating a business and who really, and also the project partners, I believe you also want to have your takeaways, but maybe you don't run a company, right? You don't run a manufacturing company, but maybe you have talked to lots of people and you could imagine yourself as a project lead of some of those companies, or as a whatever operator, whatever fits, whatever you know, would be really great to do a role play, let's say. Because if there are people here who can actually have great takeaways from doing this interactive session with the real problems, that would be really, really great if you join in for this. You have 35 minutes. First, you start with individual brainstorming. Don't worry, the instruction is on the Miro board. Then we have a group discussion. We do the reality check that I told you. We do metrics mapping. The metrics we saw, it's there. And then we select the quick win and document it. And one person will present it to the whole group. Remember, on the right side, focus on real problems you face today. Be honest about your feasibility. It's okay if you say, oh my God, that's really tough. And help each other with the assessment. One spokesperson per group. I will go into the Miro board and show you where you can find it. You will be placed or moved to breakout rooms. And there are already some people here. Thank you for joining. You can see it's a big one. you will move to this place. We have 2 sessions. Of course, we will start with session 1. We have lots of groups. We have 13 people now, minus us, it's 10 people. We might have 2 or 3 groups, because if we join in, and you will start with session 1. Breakout room number 1 is group 1, right? The number relates to this board. Step 1, write in your name and 1 person, and then fill in your production challenges. You choose your color and you will keep this color throughout the sessions. Once you fill this in, each person in the group presents the production challenges to the others. Please be good in timekeeping. Then can you move this? I hope so. Then step 3, check if the challenge is a good AI case. Is it repeating? Can we measure it? Is there a pattern to find? You can use this checklist. And now the important part comes too. Move those challenges you have and that you say, yes, it's also an AI challenge that an AI solution could help with. Move it to the AI opportunity metrics. You can see the same as in the slide deck. To give you a bit of a guidance when you say, okay, but I do not know if it is technically like the feasibility. I don't know. I'm not sure. You have checklists down here where you can ask questions like, okay, I understand that's easy or not easy or medium. The same with the business impact, like productivity, quality impact, safety, and so on. Some criteria to actually choose. Step 5, decide on the challenge you'd like to present to the whole group. Or you can just talk about it, right? Let's have fancy dots or just talk about it however you like it. And then step 6, and now back to each person. Even if you said, okay, we will present 1 challenge, it is about your problem. So each person chooses 1 of your quick wins and documents it. So I would say, what is broken? What is my, or what is inefficient? What is my problem? Do I know the impact? Can I actually write down the frequency or the costs? If not, leave it blank, no worries. You can gather that information later. Also, estimations are great. Yes, it is feasible. We have data, we have a budget, we have a team. I believe that Mr. Something or this team will help. And I also think that the timeline is realistic. And how will I measure the improvement? Fill in what you can. This is not, it's just about getting started and about thinking about it right now and right here. Do you have questions? Because if not, we will start. There's someone already writing, even though there's no group yet. So Laura will bring us to, okay, that's a question. Yes, please.
But how do I get there? Because I cannot see the page. It's like really lagging here on my side.
You cannot see the page?
Yeah, I only see like how do I get to that page?
To the Miro board?
Yeah.
Sorry, the URL was a bit quick. I'll write it in the chat.
Oh, okay.
/Miro. This is the link again.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Okay, if there are no more questions, then Laura will bring us to breakout rooms now. I will also be in 1 breakout room and start jumping around.
Okay, I'm opening them. I created 3 rooms. And the timer is 35 minutes.
Yeah, I believe we need to be faster.
Okay.
So let's see, everybody, if we can make it in 20 minutes. I will jump around and see how fast you're going. And if we need more time, we'll adjust. Let's make it 20.
Okay, great. See you later.
See you. So how do you feel about AI in manufacturing now? Post 1 emoji in the chat. I have some suggestions here. I'll also post something. Let me grab 1 or 2. Let's see. Oh, that was, ooh, I like it. Okay, those are good ones. Those are good ones. I'm boring. Yeah, I like that. GIFs are also always good, right? Okay, perfect. So Jennifer is still sharing her emoji. Yay, high five. I like that. Thank you so much. Thanks for being back here. Thanks for the shift. I think it'll be also great, to be honest. We can stay more in the presentation and the content and have a recording of it, and you can gain insights and interact. I also will just explain the second interactive session, but we will not jump into it then. And you have the link to the My report. So how do we get from insights to a pilot project? Or more, to a pilot. I will now map problems that we have in manufacturing, and AI solutions. Let's look at the core concept again to then move further. AI in manufacturing, it is not magic, it's method. I hope that's what we already learned. And this is where we start. We collect data, usually IoT sensors. Anything my machine gives me, any log I have, as said before, it depends on the case, but even the little note from the operator from the night shift, maybe. I connect it, I have data integration, so I need to access this data. I analyze it, or AI analyzes it, right? That's why I have it. I act on it, or I have AI suggest a decision or even decide for me, which is not really where we are yet. I believe we still need some human intervention. And then it learns. This is AI. The continuous improvement is also, of course, all the AI learning patterns, more patterns, but it's our learning too. We have to continuously improve. We also scale. We have one machine, we learn how to do it, how to make predictive maintenance, for example, or if we use computer vision, or like cameras to detect defects, we would start with one product, then another product, and the AI learns and we also learn. And then we collect more data. Let's map problems to AI solutions, classic AI and Gen AI. This part I really like, because unplanned downtime, that is one big challenge, right? We also had it as an example in the active session. My most important machine might fail unexpectedly. That happens. What do we usually do? The machine has over time, we have scheduled maintenance, but sometimes it's even too early. And I would not need that maintenance. That is also a cost that's high that we sometimes underestimate, right? So doing maintenance too early is costly. And also maybe it just breaks down and I did not see it coming and I have unplanned downtime. Also very, very expensive. What can we do? Predictive maintenance is, of course, the overall solution. How does it work? IoT sensors, they monitor the machine health. These examples, you saw more sensors. We have classical AI, analytical AI. They analyze patterns to predict failure. And the Gen AI would then tell me what to do, like explains it. Oh, see, this is what I'm seeing. That's why it's happening. And maybe you should do X, Y, Z. Real value example, the machine vibration increase over a baseline. The AI says, oh, it's gonna be, I am quite sure it's 94% confidence that the machine will break down in 72 hours. And Gen AI could add, okay, this is what you should do. This is what you should order, and so on and so on. I really like the Gen AI part too, because it makes it so applicable for everyone nowadays, right? So I have my result as a planned 2-hour maintenance versus 8-hour emergency repair, maybe on a weekend. Key benefits of this could be reduction in downtime and maintenance costs. Of course, also what I said before, I don't do maintenance too often. I have fewer breakdowns, and the return on investment is typically within 6 to 12 months, sometimes even earlier, but usually sensors, dashboards, and so on are costly, but it always comes to a good investment. Next, inconsistent quality. Manual quality checks are slow, expensive, and humans make mistakes. So also the things, it could be either what I produced or the products I receive for my production. And I can have the solution would be automated quality control. How does it work? We have high-speed cameras. They capture the product images at every stage. Then the computer vision, that's the classical AI, detects defects that we would maybe not see or not as fast. And the Gen AI says what's there and also suggests root causes or what to do. Real value example, the camera detects a scratch on a product surface. The AI identifies, okay, we have this type of defect. That's not so bad. And then, but this is the location. And then the Gen AI adds pattern matches tool wear on station 4, similar defects, blah, 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 blah. Maybe you should check the tool. So we can see defects before shipping and prevent tool damage as well. Key benefits could be reduction in escape defects, inspection versus sampling, reduction in quality labor costs, because I don't need to have humans checking it anymore. And the return on invest could also be 3 to 6 months. But even though cameras, it really depends. It's always all those numbers. Please don't take them too seriously. Of course, it's always very individually. And also, what do you already have, right? What machines are already in place, what product line, and so on. So many variables. But again, ROI, the return on investment, is high. And the return on investment, that is actually the return on investment would actually be a percentage, like it's 200%. What I invest, we will explain it later. It is not very correct, I'm afraid here. This is actually does my investment like break even with my value or the gain I have. AI solution, but it's common to talk about ROI not only as a percentage, but also in like when does my investment like pay back? Oh, it's in 6 months. What else do we have as a problem? Complex processes. How do we find the perfect recipe for our process with so many variables? Like this is what I said before, right? And AI can see so much at the same time, like in a little part of a second, it can recognize so much. What I say my mom can do, but well, she can't. No, maybe not even with a long time period. But this is where AI comes in. We have sensor monitors for all process parameters. Again, sensors, but speed, and we even have more data than this. It depends a bit. Flow charts. We could have classical AI finds optimal settings through continuous learning. That's why it's AI and not only rule-based, it learns. And Gen AI can translate it into actionable instructions too. This, yes, sorry. A real value example. We have a current output is 100 units per hour at 78% quality. AI says, okay, if you increase the temperature and reduce the speed, adjust the pressure to 4.2 bars, and then we can see, okay, the combination reduces the stress, blah, 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 blah. So we have more units with a better quality. This is also where the digital twins comes in, right? This is exactly what you can simulate with a digital twin, just on your dashboard and no need to work on the machines themselves. We have as a result higher overall efficiency despite a slightly lower speed. That's also something we have to bear in mind, right? Okay, it's not as fast, but it's much better. Less defects, more quality, and so on. Key benefits could be the improvement in OEE, reduction in energy consumption if you optimize your processes, also a big topic for your costs and sustainability, by the way. Less material waste, also a big topic. And it usually paybacks in 6 to 9 months of what you implement. And, oh, that's interesting, hidden problems. Do you know, like when people work at a place for a long time, you also see it in firefighters, you see them, people have intuition, and they are like, I don't really know, something feels wrong, but I don't know what it is. And it's usually true, but also to find those patterns, to see it, it's very hard to find. But this is why we have AI, anomaly detection. How does it work? We monitor all the system parameters all the time. Then classic AI learns normal behavior and sees what's not normal anymore. Those were some of the methods in the very beginning. It can, like, there are different types of AI and algorithms, how it works to actually see those anomalies. And usually providers have used more than one to make a very good prediction or assumption. Gen AI then can see, oh, why does it happen? Why is this not normal? And what could be the cause of it? An example is the subtle pressure fluctuation in the morning. The AI said something is different. It's like just 3%. And then AI can see, okay, this is what you should check. And I found this on the second line. And again, maybe this is when it will fail. You don't have as key benefits so many unexpected failures. You have a faster problem diagnosis, reduction in troubleshooting time. Like you don't, when the process is, or when the anomalies are detected, you don't need to start searching and get this gut feeling like something's wrong. I'm not sure. This is solved by AI. And payback could be in 4 to 8 months. One last one, which is unpredictable demand. Some of you wrote it also in the very first question. We either have too much stock or not enough to meet customer orders. What can we do with AI? Demand forecasting and inventory optimization, so those two things. Classic models are great at forecasting based on historical sales numbers. But what about events that have never happened before? Also, this is something where generative AI actually adds a new layer of intelligence. We combine historical sales data with external factors, seasonality, trends, events. We can predict future demands. And as said, Gen AI provides context and generates also action plans, can say like what to do. Gen AI can help in reading or analyzing patterns in social media trends, for example, or with major competitors, and so on. And even when we then have the forecast, what we could do in LLM, Gen AI, could automate the communication. It could draft an email to your purchasing department and say, hey, look at this. Classic AI and me, Gen AI, we found that this and that happened, and which is why you should order more or maybe less or whatever we expect. The value example here, the current inventory is 10,000 units. The AI predicts, 85% probability of 15,000 units that will be demanded next month because it's a seasonal peak coming up and we have new customers. And Gen AI can add, hey, the instructions. Start production increase by Monday, order raw materials, consider overtime, and so on. So as a result, we can meet the demand without overproduction. Key benefits, reduction in inventory costs. We do not need to save those 50,000 units before. We have fewer stock outs and, an improvement, of course, in forecast accuracy. This also pays out. The next slide is something that you have on my report for the second session and also something you can check later. Again, or pause the video if you're watching it. This is quite big too, and has most of the challenges or problems. And it maps pretty much which AI solution can I have for which problem. The challenge on the left, unplanned downtime, quality variation, high energy cost, and so on. Knowledge loss is one thing on the bottom. And then you can see the right AI solution. What would I do? Do I need computer vision? So I would need cameras, for example. I don't know real-time visibility. I don't see what my machines are doing at every moment. Then you would need sensors or already have sensors, and then implement a digital twin, a dashboard, and so on. And there's a remark here on the bottom of the slide. Gen AI only appears once. Most production problems need classical AI, not ChatGPT. Although we also had ideas in the question and the first poll we made, the survey, training of people, reading manuals, and so on. It's a big use case in every company. Today we're talking about manufacturing, but also it has so much knowledge in manufacturing. We have training, we have to understand the problems and so on. That's all where Gen AI comes into. And I believe you also saw in the cases where I showed you where Gen AI like helps to translate it, or to also improve when classical AI comes in manufacturing. Taking action from problem to proof. How do I get to my first business case or my first pilot? As I said before, we are talking business here. It's not for fun, even though it's fun. Like AI is so much fun. That's why we have so many AI consultants out there, I guess, too. But AI is fun because if we do it in the right way, it solves real problems. There's so much potential out there, but there's also so many options where you could get lost. I'll just say it's this big hype. But that's what we will focus on now too. If we start with a really good problem, a challenge that with this AI opportunity metrics, you could identify as a quick win because it is easy to implement, has a big business impact, then it's really, really great to use AI and the combination of classical AI and Gen AI. How do we get to a business case? Let's make it very simple, really simple. Like as we don't have people working in the financial area here, I hope they might excuse it, but many times easy is the way to go. What do we need? Benefits, what do we look at? We look at benefits, avoided downtime, reduced scrap costs, energy savings, right? We can actually put numbers on these benefits. We have to look at cost investments, hardware sensors, hardware, software, integration partners, the internal time. And we have key financial metrics, but we have to look at the payback period in month. That's when we first had the ROI on the slides, which had payback periods. Usually the return on investment, you would say in percentage. The payback period is also very, very powerful way to look at it, of course. When will my money be worth it, my investment be worth it? How do I calculate it? Sorry, this example here. We have the benefit, 5,000 euros per month, downtime saved because my machine doesn't break down, for example, or because I don't do it could be unplanned downtime or even maintenance I would have done that's not needed. So machine is not down. The costs of implementing it, hardware, sensors, and the software could be 15,000 euros one time. So calculation easy, payback in 3 months. Remember, conservative estimates build trust. I'm really not a fan of putting like numbers that are way up in the cloud and then, and that's terrible. And then you don't meet the expectations. And of course, we are conservative in when we calculate things. On the left, you can see benchmarks. What could be a good would be payback in less than 12 months, of course, great in less than 6 months, and excellent in less than 3 months. I have not seen paybacks in less than 3 months so often, but I also work with, those were big companies or very big projects. But around 12 months was actually a realistic. How do I calculate my return on investment? Also made very simple. The universal formula in percentage is my annual benefit minus my costs. So in the first one, we had the 15,000. Well, it's not annual. I have another example later because it was the one-time payment, but maybe I have per month, I have 500 euros that I need to pay for specific software. So I would add that, of course, as my annual costs. The benefit of that I don't have the downtime, and then the annual benefit, how much do I save per month, and then calculate it multiplied by 12, or maybe you check it for per year, the annual costs that I have, and then divided by the total investment, and then the total investment, and then multiplied by 100, because that's when we get to a percentage. The payback formula, we had it before. The month is your total investment divided by your monthly savings. This is what, with the first one, we had the 15,000. We had here, I'm jumping back, 15,000 one-time benefit, 5,000 per month. The one-time cost pays back in 3 months. Very, very simple example. And they're usually hidden costs. You will find them on the slide deck too. Lots of costs to keep in mind over a longer period. We will check this out too. We'll have a quick look at it, but the detail is in the presentation too. Let's have a look at a predictive maintenance return on investment. An example. The problem, another example. Unplanned downtime, 10 hours per month. How much does 1 hour cost? 2,000 euros, because I'm losing production and I have labor costs, like people I pay that don't work, or maybe even also people who have to repair it and so on. My annual loss, because it happens every month, is 240. Oh no, my annual loss overall is 240,000 euros. My solution is I would implement IoT sensors on the machines and buy an AI platform. The investment is 30,000 euros, especially for the IoT sensors and setting up a platform, and I have operating costs. Platforms cost money usually, or maintenance of sensors too, which shouldn't be that much per year, but still, it's little machines too. So I have these operating costs. How do I calculate it? My annual benefit. With my solution, I save 30%. I have a reduction in downtime, of 30%. So it's 36 hours saved. 1 hour, we had it up there, is 2,000 euros. So it's 72,000 euros that I save. And per year. And per year, every year, I save 72,000, and I have these recurring costs. So I have a huge savings. My return on investment, this is my per year saving, divided by the first investment, the one investment we made, the 30,000, the one-time investment, multiplied by 100 is 220%. My payback, my 30,000 divided by the net annual savings divided by month is 5.5 months. So this is an example that you can look at, how you can use it. It's also on the Miro board too. Justify your pilot. What do we have? We can say, let's stop the bleeding. Let's invest to see or invest to grow. 3 pillars. Stop the bleeding means we fix a painful problem, usually unplanned downtime, right? We invest to see, we want to build data and learn from it, or invest to grow, create competitive advantage with my AI solution, right? I want to be better, faster, and so on than my competitors on the market. So those are like different ways of the reasonings for your pilot using AI in manufacturing. Focus for the stop the bleeding part, direct cost savings, of course, like the machine is not down anymore and I save lots of money. Invest to see, I can see it's a de-risk for future investment. And invest to grow, focus is on new capabilities. That's usually a very strategic decision from management. They say, where do we want to invest in logically, right? The stop the bleeding or investment to see what comes next is a quite obvious case, and investments to grow are usually strategic questions. Stop the bleeding, save 50K, invest to sales, spend 50K to avoid, or invest to grow, increase my output by 10%. Then we have the return on investments. By the investment to see learning value is what we have here, and also the invest to grow. The return on investment is actually the payback period also. Like when do could I see an effect in 12 to 18 months, sometimes even more, right? Especially nowadays with AI solutions, so much coming up, could be longer. Stop the bleeding, best for quick wins. Where does it really hurt? Has a big business impact. Invest to see new technology. Let's see what it can do. And invest to grow for transformation of my company. If there are no questions, I move on. Because now I want to look at some real investment ranges. Again, it's an assumption. It comes from data, but it is always, it's individual. But what we have to, could we look at, because we have also different options. We can use a cloud platform for our AI, for the data we're gathering. We need sensors and gateways to connect it. We need the platform subscription that could be 500 euros per month, but per machine maybe. That depends a bit on the vendor. Setup and training, 2,000. Total year one is 10,000 if the setup and training is this easy. That is also a very, what Bill Gates said, general user interface, but user interfaces and user experience is so great, right? I mean, look at things, usually nowadays things work without an instruction, right? A paper instruction, because people want it very easy. Also, I mean, dashboard, digital twins, and analytics and manufacturing are not that easy, but also together with Gen AI that can train, it is much easier. So trainings could be cheap, but just for a start. This is just for 5 machines for the first year, very, very small case. Option 2, edge solution, which means the machine has the AI integrated, the sensors and the AI. It is a one-time investment. You need to install it in training. Would be higher too than installation. It depends a bit on the provider. Do they already, when you buy it, install it or not? Total year one we have, and then we have ongoing 500 euros per year in maintenance, because you can be that you do not need to pay for the extra platform subscription because it is included in the device. Or custom option with a consultant. I'm a consultant, but I would not go for custom options. Not to start with, not for small companies, because yeah. Again, let's look at the cost. We have the buy or build decision later. Sensors, infrastructure. If you start very tiny bit in the first year, you could start with 2,000 euros. You have a platform. You could use auto machine learning also from Google. Then you have a consultant, which is expensive, and this one here would be a very expert consultant. I'm really only very little. The rest would be easy, right? This would also already mean that there's no other trouble going on, that everything is clear where to connect and so on. So, and then we have ongoing costs. What happens if we look, timeline. First, prevented failure by month 3, break even by month 6 to 9. Yeah, all of these options would usually work. And if we look at 3 years, for example, the cloud option, the edge device, it is the cloud option costs a lot because you pay the platform all the time. The edge device has a big one-time investment. And then are these numbers correct? No, the total and monthly. And then the custom and do-it-yourself, it's the most expensive one. And I would, again, not really go for it because leave the expert or the building of platforms to those who do it all the time, the big ones, and then just buy from them. But every path is profitable. The question is like what fits to your organization. And maybe this helps a little bit. Build versus buy decision framework. Should you build or buy? I would ask myself, is my problem unique? Yes or no? Usually not so much, right? Why would it be this unique? Also, 80% of your problems will be solved. Or you would look for a problem that can be solved, that is not unique. Do I have in-house IT expertise? Yes or no? Usually not for developing an AI platform. Even though it is quite easy, you can, if a developer knows what they are doing, you can gather projects. There are many open source projects that you can adapt. Do I need results in less than 3 months? No or yes? If I need them, I should definitely buy something because it's ready. Do I have more than 50,000 euros? Yes, I could build something. No, I should buy something. And is it a standard problem like downtime or quality? No or yes. Again, it's a bit like is your problem unique? And you can see the buy points, if they are bigger than build points. Of course, choose a vendor solution, what most people do. Build points, consider custom option, work tight, start with buying, customize later. That's also what I see very often out there. So I would, as I said, I would always try to buy something. Also in the field of AI and Gen AI, I see so many companies fail because they build something. Usually people know solutions that are out on the market already that are much easier to handle or better or bigger or more powerful. And then they are disappointed by what's built. I see that really very often. I have guided projects where we build something new, could also be a great option. Also for a company who could then sell their solution to others or make it available. Can also be a great option for a company like an investment strategy, right? To work with the code and use it for other companies too. About the costs, some things to share. Monthly fees aren't evil. Yes. Well, it does cost something per month. We have subscriptions everywhere. And it's a lot, but it includes updates and support and improvements. You know what you get. No surprise cost. One-time purchase isn't always cheaper. The edge device, it looks, it's only 14K over 3 years. That looks good, but it needs IT support and updates and replacements. So real cost often doubles. Those are hidden costs. Do-it-yourself is expensive initially, highest year 1 cost, of course, but best 3-year economics, maybe. But one thing, it only works with commitment. The cost we are not talking about by do-it-yourself is what it means for your team. You always need someone who's the project owner, there's so much to do when you work with consultants or developers, even in your own team, even if you have those people hired. So you need lots of commitment, and the market usually changes so fast, and the development when big companies do something is so fast that you should use theirs. You aren't as fast. You have 1 or 2 people or 10 people, but I would not go for that. You do what you can do well, and that is produce things, and you buy from the people who know what they are doing, which is software, platforms, sensors. Start small, prove the return on investment, then scale. This is always what I would do, of course, and prove the value in let's say maybe 3 months would work out, that it does not need to be break even yet, but it can say that it is going to break even, and then you can keep investing. I have 2 ways of showing how you can actually start tomorrow or next week, which are 2 different approaches, and I both like them. Well, the second one has something special to it, where you can stop in between when you say, oh, it's not working out. How can a 30-day AI pilot roadmap look like? Days 1 to 30. First 30 days, prepare and assess. Form your team. I will share people you need on the team soon. Quantify the problem costs. Assess current data and systems. Select a vendor or technology. It's actually good. You can do quite easy research. That's why I didn't share vendors here, also because I, don't have too much of an idea. I haven't seen too many, but you can definitely do research and talk. And in the slide deck, you can also find questions to ask a vendor. What do I have to take care of or be aware of when I select a vendor? Then you define your success metrics and you get the budget approval by week 4, hopefully. It's a pilot, should not be so much. The next 30 days, build and connect. Install the sensors and connectivity. Set up a data pipeline. Configure the AI platform together with a vendor, or have them do it. Train the team in how to use it and test it with historical data, or even use Gen AI to create more data to learn it. Depends on what you're looking at. Do you have historical data, or do you need some data to teach it? Usually if you buy platforms, that's what they could also provide. Depends a bit. Then the last 30 days, go live with your pilot. Monitor the performance daily, of course. It's a big project. It's not just a side thing that you do in 2 hours. Calculate the actual return on investment. Document your learnings, and then make a scale or stop decision by week 12. What are critical success factors here? The clear ownership. Who does what? Are you the champion? Make progress reviews, especially with the people who pay for it, who gave like the budget approval, for example. Involve the IT very early on, of course, like from day 1. This is when you also form your team and measure it continuously. That's the only way you can learn. This is a very fast timeline, like 90 days, but it is only for pilot and it does need lots of time. It is doable. You can make it to 120 days or something, but we talk about a pilot here and about time that you actually invest. So the budget you need is not only for the investments, what you would actually pay for, but also for your time, obviously, which you get before you even start. Then we have a phase gate approach. I will share quickly because as we don't do the interactive session, I have time to share this one too. I like it because you can say, or you could also call it milestones. You would ask in the first phase and check, can we get the data? Does a solution already exist out there? Like I'm researching vendors, and do I have management support? Yes or no? What would be my investment for this? Maybe 2,000 euros because it's the time I spend, or maybe I have a consultant joining in. It's not a lot of money. Then we have phase 2, the proof of concept. You say, yes, we go on. So you would install minimal sensors, you collect some baseline data, and you can prove that AI can detect patterns. Does it work? Yes or no? This is the next gate where you decide if you keep going. And the only investment you did so far, 5,000 to 10,000 euros maybe. And then phase 3 is they actually start the pilot. You do the full implementation on one machine, you have real-time predictions, and you measure the actual value. This is the gate 3, the scale optimized stop investment, 15,000 to 25,000 euros would be after the pilot. This is your investment that you do with the pilot, and then you can say, yeah, great, we will scale, or we will optimize, or stop. Those are the 3 decisions you could do, and this will have cost you 25,000 euros. And if you do the work before looking at high impact and quick wins, I'd say that 70 to 80% of pilots actually are successful and will be scaled. Why not? Build your team. The essential roles, and they can be part-time. The champion, that's you. You drive the project. You own the business case. Who else do we need? The sponsor, right? Provides budget, removes roadblocks. That is the person that has economical decision power. Manager, whoever. That depends a bit on your company, of course. We have a process owner. Could also be you, who knows. It depends. They know the problem really, really well. They could be a shift leader too, or a supervisor. So they know their machines, they know their processes. That depends. Usually someone else could be used. We have a technical lead, so someone who knows and can do the integration of the data coming into your systems. Maybe also external, because it's also likely that it's an external person. And operator representative. It's for the daily user perspective, and change ambassador, because you need to get this change into, the whole team. So you need someone by your side who really does this on a daily basis and supports this change. And finance validator. Your calculations, because you own the business case, you need someone to confirm it, and who actually also can support you in tracking actual savings and knowing the numbers. Maybe you have access to it and know that stuff, maybe not, depends a bit. But we need this role, and it's not one person, one role, one person, 2 roles, or 2 persons, 1 role, could also be, right? Those are usually the roles you need. Key for success: same people, same room every week. You should meet up and talk about it. I need a quick zip, excuse me. All right. Let's look at what else we need, what matters. If we implement AI in an AI solution, it's change management. Yes, we hear it all the time, but it is important. It is the #1 failure reason. Oh, wow. It is not technical, it's resistant to change. So that is a very, very teeny tiny view into change management, which is of course usually bigger. It's a big thing. It should not be underestimated. Let's look at 3 C's. Maybe that can stick to your memory. The 1 C is communicate early and often, especially AI. People are so afraid of losing their jobs or being replaced. We saw it in the beginning, right? AI doesn't replace you, but someone who uses AI, but there are many jobs, and it's also manufacturing which could be replaced, or people are afraid. Share why you do it, not what you're doing, but why you're doing it. And also, I like this part, celebrate small wins publicly. Share it with everyone, Next C, collaborate with the floor. The operators of your machines are actually the experts. Listen to them. They know what they are talking about, and make them part of the solution. It's their ideas powered by AI. Also, when you think about your first quick win, you would go to them and say, hey, this is a challenge, or this is actually also a starting point. You would talk to them and say, what are your production challenges if you're not close enough to the problems, for example. So it is their ideas powered by AI. And the last C, capability building. Train in small groups, focus on benefits to their jobs, and also create AI champions. There has been a survey I shared in the attachments where it was with 150 companies, more small companies in the production field, and they also said that not having trained people, no skilled people, was a very big issue. So do training, focus on training in small groups, especially, if you start with a pilot, get AI champions who would then see how great it is and share the idea with everyone. That's so much better than someone just, maybe if you're a project lead and talking about it, but the people who are affected by it, mostly operators, if they are not part of the team and not, behind this idea and move it forward, you will not win or you won't succeed with your pilot. Before we look into your one-page pilot plan, one more thing, you don't need to become a data scientist. I hope that was clear now. You need to choose the right partner or platform. Start with good sensors on critical assets. That's how we usually start. Predictive maintenance, always a good start. Give it time to learn. Act on the insights and calculate and communicate the benefits. Here's the return on investment, but I believe by all of the benefits, that's what you should do. There was a lot of talking from my side. Are there questions? Okay. Then I will move on with the one-page pilot plan. That's a lot of text right now. You can also find it on the Miro board, for example. It's lots of text because it's needed. If we make a one-page pilot plan, now we're saying, okay, we're done. How do I actually make a plan for my pilot? What do? I use ChatGPT, of course. Well, not ChatGPT, but you know what I mean. I use an LLM, of course, to support me. We don't have it now, or even if we use it, make sure you know what you're doing. So let's look at it to get an overview, to get an idea, and then you can later choose your LLM and replicate it or use it, and also have like an idea of, is it complete? Is it everything? What would we have in a one-page pilot plan? The problem statement. It is the challenge you had before, right? But now that was on a sticky note, but now we would describe it a bit more. Guiding questions. What specific pain are we addressing? Where does it occur? How does it manifest today? And then you have examples. So unplanned downtime on this in here caused by 4 hours of lost production per week. If you know those numbers, if not, no worries. Estimations, or find the data later if you need it. The pilot goals and success metric, that is very important. Well, everything is important, that's why it's here, but what is our measurable goal? How will we know if we have won or if this pilot actually worked out? This metric must be SMART. You've heard about SMART. Specific, measurable, time-bound. Realistic, that's also the R in it, and applicable, but specific, measurable, time-bound, that is very, very important. If you don't have that, a pilot has an ending. It's a project. It has what makes a project a project? It has a start and an ending. So it's going to be a pilot 90 days or 120 days, or maybe sometimes it's not the time. You should have an estimation, but you could say when it reaches a return on invest of XYZ 200%, or when it, what else could we do? When I prevented 3 failures because I had 3 predictions or something coming out of my solution, my dashboard. Chosen technology. What is our core technical hypothesis? Do we need to add sensors? Are we using an algorithm to predict failure, for example? Is it a virtual model, and so on? Like, what do we actually do? How do we approach our pilot? What do we for the chosen problem? The data needed. What data do we need for this? Sensors we had before, historical data, written notes from the operator, and so on. Where is it? What format is it in? Can I access it? What do I need to do with it to make it applicable. Team and roles, who needs to be on the pilot team, the sponsor, process owner, and so on. Write them down. Ideas. Then go and ask those people. If you have ideas, that's usually the person to go to, and that will, the first person that comes to your mind is usually the right person anyway. Key risk and assumptions. I will have some risk and mitigations in another slide coming up. Think about what could go wrong. What are we assuming to be true? Because what you assume that can be true can go wrong, right? We assume we can get network access for the sensor gateway. What if it doesn't? Then the last one, first actionable step. That's of course what we want to do and see. What is the single immediate concrete action that will create momentum? It could be scheduling a meeting with the IT department. It depends a bit if you already have a goal, if you can already start, if you're allowed to start. If you have a sponsor and someone says, yes, try a pilot, and then you could say, I would talk to the IT department because I know I need this data and I need to connect it. I'm not sure if it works. Or aren't you sure about the challenge? You maybe not sure, and you go and talk to an operator and involve them, and so on and so on. That depends a bit on the starting point where you are, what you can do next. But believe me, you will find something that you can start doing on Monday, let's say. We will now go into the interactive session 2, which we will not do now. But what we would have done, and I will show it to you because it is a great task that you can do for yourself. Later on, you would transfer the quick win that we chose before on the sticky note to the pilot plan. You choose your technology from the list. I showed you the big table before. It's also in the Miro board. You identify what data you have and need. Then you would talk. A peer review is really great if it's an actual option, to say, hey, what do you think about it? Is it specific enough, or someone else has experience with my specific challenge, my problem, and they say, I know a vendor, or this is how we did it, and so on. Then you would incorporate the feedback from your peers and finalize it and define one Monday morning action, which let me quickly show you. Now my Teams, I think I'm stuck a bit. I hope it's working, and it seems very slow. My report. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can see my report now, please? Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. So this would have been the first session, right? With that we would have, now I'm taking Tobias printer breakdowns. And we said printer breakdown. Oh my God, it has high impact. It's like, it's so, I moved the arrow. It's so expensive because of, well, I don't know, maybe it's a 3D printer. And it is so easy to collect the data because it's just there. Then we would have had this challenge here. We fill in the problem statement. If we know how often does it happen, I believe it's like twice per week, so it's 8 times in a month. How much does it cost? Maybe €5 and so on. You know what I mean? Yes, I have data. Where's the data? Everybody can access this, or the IT department and so on. Do I have budget to work on it? I don't need budget. I need time. I have it. Who supports me? IT. Is there a vendor that can help me? For this case, no need. And when can I start the pilot? Next week. How will I measure it? No breakdowns, or breakdown only once a week. Could also be a good improvement, right? Once we have this, we would take it, and each person fills in the one-page pilot plan. which is the problem statement, what you saw before, the metrics, which technology do I choose? And here I shared the table that you could look at again, could be of help, or you add your own. What technology do I need for it? Data requirements, team, right names, be very specific. What are key risks and what could I do? And I think that's going to happen. Return on investment, results, my payback, and so on. This is a one-page pilot plan. We would talk about it, challenge each other, and then decide what we would do Monday morning to start with. I took more time in explaining slides because we knew we would not do this. I want to share one thing. What do I also do for this pilot planning? I use an LLM, and my treat for you was to test a lot of different large language models in a platform for a week. You could access a demo, which has actually quite a lot of features and can in general run locally, what we have implemented, not this demo. And you can plan, you can use prompts I have here or here, for example, or just ask the LLM. But this is something what I would definitely, when I start planning a project, help me with. Please make sure that you do use the basics of a prompt, give context, examples, the desired result, and so on. Before, if you have never worked, I believe you all work with ChatGPT. If not, or to get a reminder, check some like just prompting framework, prompting techniques to make sure to get a good result, because you know it, shit in, shit out. I said it, excuse my French, but if people still say ChatGPT isn't working for them or they don't really get it, it's usually because they don't know how to prompt. So there are some ideas here. Feel free to test it out. Yeah, that's just a quick treat for you. And I will jump back for the last minutes into the presentation. And end it with some slides on success factors. How can my start with AI in manufacturing or implementing a new AI solution actually be successful? Choose the right problem. Could be, we said it before, specific, measurable, recurring. It has to have a value, usually costs, to save costs and save money. Data should exist or can be collected easily. Right problem and easy. The right team, always, you know it, right? Who's on your team? Do they move it forward? Do I have the sponsor with budget and who can actually give also time for other people in your team? I have a process owner, I have a bridge builder, and so on. And my operators on the shop floor are also part of the team and really looking forward to the solution. I have the right approach. Start small. Make a 90-day timeline maximum, I would actually say, and then say, maybe it stops in, as I said before, two predictions. You would say for yourself what metric is actually good enough to say this was valid. What can I achieve in 90 days? And then always plan for 75 days and have some extra time, I guess. Buy before build, because especially for 90 days, it's much easier. There are also platforms and vendors who could give you a week or 2 weeks of a pilot, how would you call it, this test period. Make weekly progress reviews and be very honest about it. Do it with the team and maybe with your sponsor, depends a bit. Use Gen AI for it, by the way, and have the right expectations. Learning is better than perfection. 80% accuracy is enough to start. You heard it. I love 80-20, right? The AI also needs some time to learn patterns. You can support it by providing accessible test data. And the return on invest comes from action on the insights. So when you have an insight, right, a prediction, you need to act on it and not only look at it. What risk could come up? Bad data quality, garbage in, garbage out. That's what I said before. And mitigation, what can we do against it? 2-week data validation before starting. Before you start your pilot, check the data. Or another risk is alarm fatigue. Like you have false alarms all the time, and then it's like people shouting for help, right? When they don't need help, and then when they need it, they don't get it anymore. So I would be conservative here. What if you don't have buy-ins from your team? The operator ignores the system. Involve them from day one. Solve their problem. It's not about your problem. It is not about this could be a good idea. Never. It needs to be a specific problem. And really, this is also when I start with AI or any digital solution, the question is, what's your biggest problem in your company? It's not what do you think could be solved with AI, because people might also not know. This is why we experts come in, right? To then say, okay, this and this problem could be solved with AI. That's why we had this AI checklist too. Big problem, high impact checklist. It's an AI problem. Okay, let's go for it. Scope creep. Project never finishes. What I said, project always has an end. Make a fixed 90-day timeline, no additions, plan for 75 days internally or something, but say what you can achieve in 90 days and see how far you get. Integration hell, can't connect to systems. This is really something you should not choose. Start a standalone, maybe later, and integrate. Start a standalone, integrate later. So maybe, because it's a pilot, it doesn't need to be in all your systems. Start with one machine, one interface here, and show that it actually works. Depends a bit on your management and so on, who or the sponsor. If they say, I have enough money to already connect it, or no, let's make sure we just get started, and I want to see that it works. Maybe you have people that say, I know AI works, let's go, let's take a bit bigger investment because I know it works, we will start connecting it. Or you have a standalone solution to start with. Every risk you identify before starting is one you won't face during implementation. That's why we integrated also in our pilot planning, like what risks do I see coming? And for example, the buy-in of people. You have to start from day one, right? You cannot, if you don't do that, then it might be too late. Then we have the common pitfalls, the top 5 pilot killers. We need to build our own AI. I told you before, reality, 80% should buy existing solutions. At the moment, it's about 70%. I believe more could benefit from it. But also, many people build something first because there haven't been so many big platforms. Well, there have been big ones out there always, but there is so much more came up also for SMEs. So nowadays, buying is much usually the better options. Let's do the whole factory. Of course not. One machine, one problem. You know it. It should work immediately. No, need some time to learn. You won't see results in the beginning. Mitigation, use synthetic data, or I'll have Gen AI grade data, or use open source data to enhance the learning. We need 99% accuracy. Nope. Again, my 80%. If you act on the 80%, you act on beats, 95% you ignore. So it's not about perfect, it's about starting. IT will handle everything. Using AI in manufacturing, it's not an IT problem, and it's not an IT solution. Operations, shop floor, everybody, they must own the problem, so it should be their problem, of course, right? What I thought about before too, I said, you do what you can do well, you do manufacturing, someone else does AI, you implement in it. Amazon doesn't build trucks, they buy them, but they build logistics AI. Also, you should know your differentiator. Then we have the last thing. We will come to an end now. This Monday, you will, that was from the mail report, calculate the cost, talk to your IT, call a vendor for a demo, form your pilot team, or present this workshop maybe to your management, or other things. Don't forget to use Gen AI as your planning assistant, also asking about Monday morning questions. Again, feel free to access this free demo, and you can find prompts on the Miro board. Just feel free. No data is shared, by the way. Of course not, no data is shared on this demo. It's just an option for you, because I never know if participants have access to a very good solution. Now that we have ChatGPT 5, it's a good solution. Before, people were using free tools very often, which were not good enough. So I like to share access to LLMs and features, images, document analysis, and so on. This platform even has automation integrated, also AI automation with like agentic AI, which is too hard to implement, just, from just as someone who doesn't know how to, but just so you know, if you click on it and find it, it has this feature too. Feel free to use it for a while and check it out, and use other LLMs too, right? Big LLMs, open source LLMs, you can find some in there. Because this is it from my side. If there are no questions now, I will wrap it up. Dr. Müller?
Yeah, so thank you very much for your presentation. So I think especially the part after the coffee break and the second part of the training is very interesting for people who really would like to implement it. And it's, I think, a really good starting point, and showing them what to do in the first phases, let's say, to implement AI solutions. So, which will probably also be helpful for the ones who weren't able to join today. So you did a very good job of presenting it in a way that is recognizable, even if you didn't listen to it personally, I think. So I'm not sure if someone still has questions. If that is not the case, I would like to thank you again for your time and what you presented us. And I will close the training for the public. I will remain for a few minutes. And please don't forget, everyone, we have some new trainings available in the future, and you will all get informed about them as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.